It's midnight in Jamaica, and you're listening to Goody Bar Radio. It's your girl DJ Razor.
And this is Marlise, here to share your stories of love, longing, and everything in between.
Don't be shy. Call the line.
This is your nightly dose of Jamaica's sweetest stories,
where every conversation is top shelf. It's midnight in Kingston City. We are here another night yet again.
We're
myself
back.
And my favorite person, Mara. What's up?
Hey, Razor.
How have you been?
I've been really good. How have you been?
I've been okay. I've been good. I've been cozy. I've been chilling. I feel like I'm always so happy to have a conversation about, just with you in general.
Yes.
So that's been happy.
And love and romance. Yes. And more positive vibes.
More positive energy, more positive swing.
Yeah. And like real life interactions, not just like, meeting people on an app.
Yeah.
Or,
like real life.
Real life engagement.
I love that.
Getting back to that.
Singular stories that like show us hope and willpower of the human heart.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
we have Mandeville checking in.
Mandeville are checking in?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have Mandeville checking in.
Cool Mandeville, Mandeville never had a day. Yeah, love up there. You never know up there when they are.
I think it's raining up there right now.
Well, definitely. It's raining everywhere, to be fair. So, that's something.
Caller, are you there?
Mandeville.
Yes, I'm here. I am here.
It is good to have you. Give us your name.
Hey, I am Phoebe.
Phoebe. Nice to meet you, Phoebe.
Nice to meet you, Phoebe.
So in general, what were you calling us to share? What are you sharing with us today? What are we referencing?
Lay it out
how are you going to be vulnerable with us today? Call Phoebe.
Yeah, I think I called the Goody Bar because I wanted a safe space to, I don't know, I think, privately share something that has only seen the pages of my journal. And
and you chose us?
Yeah.
Aren't we honored?
I'm flattered.
Yeah.
I did because you guys have made a cool space for people to do that. So yeah, I a year and a half ago or recently, I had a heart-opening experience it kind of shook me to my core, because one of my claims to fame is that I really had never had my heart broken before.
Okay.
And not because I've never loved or never been in a relationship, but just I think I've always been able to take such good care of myself emotionally that I never really gave any one person, that power.
Right.
And so I actually, in my adulthood, I just accepted maybe I would never actually experience heartbreak from another person. Things in my life can happen that can break your heart.
Well,
so many things.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah, right? So it was actually something that was a good problem for me, and then somehow, just through time and life, I ended up falling in love with a woman for the first time, and that situation ended in real heartbreak, like what you see on television. I mean, I went through everything I have never experienced before.
Right.
Can't eat, can't sleep.
Wow.
Don't go out, like crying on the subway.
And you'd never felt that with a man.
I had never felt that. Yeah, no, I had never gotten to that point with a man before.
Is it that you never let anybody in? Like, what was it? What do you think happened that would course correct in such a way that made you feel such a wide range of emotions?
Yeah, I think it was because, she was just really my first woman everything. Right. So I had never experimented in high school, college with girls at all, not for any particular reason. It just never happened.
Yeah.
I had so many girlfriends and I'm close to so many women, but I was just never in a situation where I needed to sexually explore with a woman. And so I think it was the fact that she would have been the first woman or first girl I've kissed, the first girl I've just physically been intimate with. And then on top of that, actually see the fact that I started to even imagine her as a permanent fixture in my life.
Wow.
You know, so I think the combination of so many firsts,
Yes.
and then the fact that I actually could have seen myself like furthering life
this
with her.
person. Yeah.
You know, so I guess maybe it's just all of those things just created the perfect scenario for just the most rawest version of my heart.
Wow.
You know,
What a range.
and then of course there's still, unfortunately, I think there's still barriers, you know, in different parts of our society. And I know even for me, like, even though I'd never gotten to the point of talking to my family and anything like
Right.
that, I still had to foreshadow that.
Yeah.
And I think seeing myself being willing to go that
do
distance
that.
for somebody,
You knew you loved this person.
or
deeply.
that whatever love we experienced was worth it.
Right.
Yeah, it was more than that. What we had was
Yeah.
worth all of that. And I think that's where the heartbreak, yeah.
So what just dropped props? Like, what, it was a ghosting situation? Like, we've had ghost callers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
What-
the funniest thing is the few friends that are, you know, friends that I have that are bi or are gay, and when I've shared the situations with them, they've said to me, boy, the woman's side of life, rough. Like, apparently what I went through is quite common, but what had essentially happened was this. So we had a friendship, and she was pursuing me in that friendship, but I wasn't really receiving it as pursuit, if that makes sense, because in my head,
Yeah.
I wasn't interested in women, and I knew where she stood and she knew where I stood.
Right.
But I don't even think I realized that she was pursuing my heart for a long time. And then when I started to feel an attraction and expressed it to her, this is, 6 months into her being my quote unquote friend. You get me? So then now I catch up to the story, and we start to have, a romance, right? But prior to this is someone that was like giving me like thoughtful gifts, just being there for me as a friend, would show up, acts of service, all of the things.
Right.
So when we reach romance side of life now, she's already been like 6 months invested from her perspective. And I think it was fear on her part. So when I actually started to show that, hey, like, I actually feel this way, what like, let's go, let's have
Right.
I would love to enjoy this, and not on a joking level, like not on a experimentation,
You want to be with
but
her.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then to be quite frank, she basically one day, this is within a 2-month period, so it was like whirlwind.
Wow.
But the truth is, I realized the love was growing from before.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
and
6
so
months.
long story short, she just came up and said, I'm going to date somebody else who has been with women several times before, and that's just more her lifestyle. And she said, I feel like you're eventually going to leave me for a man. And she actually thought I was going to leave her for a very specific man, one who I'm still not with. So, that's funny. But she thought I was going to leave her for an ex, one. And then two, she just felt like, I don't know. So in my opinion, like in retrospect, it feels like fear, because she just went for like a safer option.
Right. She was.
But it was just
comfortable
super
making
Maybe
sudden.
she thought you were just experimenting.
Right. I mean, I
Yeah.
tried everything, and the
That you
funniest
would-
thing is that like I tried everything I could to show her,
that
like,
that wasn't the case.
and that's also where that heartbreak came from, because I usually don't extend that
Your
much.
fault. Yeah.
Like-
Your heart was on your sleeve, huh?
Yeah, my heart was on my sleeve,
Yeah,
like letters,
yeah,
all the
yeah.
things, because
Little things.
like when you realize, like, oh my God, I love you,
Yes,
like movie
yes.
style levels
Yes.
of whatever. And so
I like that.
yeah, it was good, but and then so when she first kind of made that sudden move, of course, that like I've never felt like my belly was like out of my body kind of a thing,
Yeah.
and but as months passed, and of course, thankfully, like time is a master, as we say in Jamaica. I do realize that it was probably fear on her part, and then on top of that, the way I look at it, looking back to, is I wouldn't want someone who would handle my heart that way anyway,
Yeah.
because she felt validated in her action and how she handled things, but I would have never handled her that way.
Right.
More consideration, whatever the
Right.
case is, but I can't tell somebody how I'm supposed to break up with
Right.
somebody else. But what I
Yeah.
do know is, if that's how you're gonna treat me at my most vulnerable state, like
Yeah.
we
This
really
is-
don't have a
Yeah,
future
this
together.
is good for you.
It was so good for
Dodged
me.
that bullet. You know
Yeah,
what I
exactly.
mean?
It did feel like I dodged a bullet as well,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I was just so, because when the heartbreak started to happen, like I could feel it happening. And funny enough, a friend of mine from school was visiting me, and for like the first 3 days, after the third day, she was like, what is going on with you? Like, she
What
literally stopped me and she was like, what's going on? And then like I literally broke down and told her everything.
Wow.
And what was so beautiful about that was that she just gave me the biggest hug and she was like, oh my God, no. And she's like, can we do something? And because she's an Aquarius, this is my friend of mine. So she was like, she's super romantic and she's like, no, but this sounds like such a beautiful story.
Right.
And you know, so many, like, you know, my few friends that do know were so supportive, and they themselves were heartbroken. And I think because they could see that if I felt that way about someone, they had to be super special.
Yeah.
I mean, you're really putting yourself out there on a limb.
Yeah. So when the heartbreak started to happen, I could see myself wanting to do my coping stuff, which is like throw myself into work or whatever the case is. And I said, you know what, Phoebe, just let yourself actually be a human being for once. You know, and I did whatever the 9 yards is of heartbreak. It's like listening to like Yaba's Heartbreak and bawling.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, you know, just like real teenage movie.
Yeah.
Your heart is broke. I did lose, like, I definitely lost some weight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you know.
We hate those.
But I'm just proud of myself too, because then now it's the funniest thing is since then, like every person I've spoken to or, you know, been on, like, I've just not been afraid to not necessarily show them my feelings per se, but just to be honest about what I want out of life.
So you've become more honest with yourself.
Super honest.
And others.
Yeah.
And that feels freeing to you, you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it just shows me, first of all, that you're not going to die if you actually show someone that, like, I think, you know, I'll be honest, like, I probably would
like
never
won't kill you.
have done all of the things that I did to show them how I felt.
Yeah.
Like sending gifts, like I would have never done that. But I did it and I was like, wait, I didn't die.
Right.
Like, I'm still a badass bitch.
Look at me breathing.
I'm breathing, yeah. Like I put everything. I was like, oh, so it actually does work out to try sooner than later. So yeah,
that's good. I'm happy about that. I think that adds to more of our positive stories.
Yes,
Mara, I feel like that really,
it's always a lesson.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people come on here and you hear the growth, and I like that for everyone. I think each person kind of brings their own version of what growth might be to them. And for you, in your case, Phoebe, I love the fact that you were able to put your heart on your sleeve and say, you know what, I give it all. Like, this is me 100%. I'm scared. I'm doing it shitless. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. And that just paid off for you. I think it paid off for you in a way that is very much bigger than just that moment.
No, totally.
So that's such a great
and
thing.
it taught me a lot about like how love really works, because I reckon, because even after it happened, you know, a friend would be like, so are you bi now, or what are you doing? And when I really reflected on it, I was like, I just fell in love with that person.
Yes.
And if there's a title, I think it's called demisexual, when you fall in love through emotions and not whatever. So, but either way, like, I remember being like, I don't look at women like that ever, and I still don't look at women like that.
Yeah.
This was just
that moment,
one person.
Yeah.
You know, like, I love, like, for example, like, women, I'll be like, bro, she has such a great body, but I never see a woman as something that I want to like as a sorry, not something, but I don't see us as women as like beings I want to sexually engage with. But it just taught me about how unique love is.
It's supreme.
Just like when you hear like old couples just be like, I knew, and they just have this love for this individual person. And it don't make sense to you, and you're like, why are you 60 years in?
Yes.
But
it's like I guess it's a soulmate.
It was a soul connection. Yeah. So this showed me that, like, Jano.
And I think you can have multiple soulmates.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. Yes.
Totally.
Yes. Some that stay platonic, I might add. I love those. Particularly, my favorite soulmate is the one that is just your friend and they are just your soulmate, your soul provider. I love those. Those are really, I love to see when we can actually engage in such a way that doesn't lend itself to anything else, just being. You know what I mean? Soulmates ring true like that. So for us, I'm glad that we all have soulmate stories. I loved this one particularly.
Her first heartbreak.
So I want to thank Phoebe for coming on. I think this was beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for sharing with us, Phoebe. This was really vulnerable.
Yeah. Hopeful.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Mar, I think in terms of like when we're talking about firsts, I know people don't think about negative things, you know. A lot of people think about positive. The first time I drive a car, the first time I don't know. It's just always sometimes positive, and I think when we're looking at it from negative perspective that turn positive, it's freeing. I think it takes us out of the cage, and I like that. I like how it makes me feel. I like that we're all kind of having the same experience.
Yeah.
All of us, you know what I mean? So that caller reflected a lot of that to me.
Yeah, I think to be able to put yourself out there like that takes a lot of guts.
Courage, man. You have to have the courage. You can't just sit down here now, no courage. Me think you take enough courage, enough time we want to forget, say, like it breathes life into us is courage. You know what I mean?
I love you so much that I'm going to, potentially disrupt
all my systems.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're checking in with yourself and you're saying, maybe this doesn't work here. Maybe I should like switch this up and love this way.
And then it not working out and it still being okay.
Yeah.
And life goes on.
Yeah.
And you find love again, or you
Peace.
just continue to pursue life.
Yeah.
On your path.
Yeah. Yeah. A long time I didn't hear about no story of people like where turn like celibate and them thing. The people where say first time my fuck since 10 million year ago. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think a lot of people have those as well. A lot of people take breaks from love in that way. That I think we have to also lend ourselves to. And I hope that somebody in the future calls about that. You know what I mean? I'm kind of excited to see where this goes. This was a really good episode.
Yeah, I love this episode.
Yeah. I think in general, this is a really good way to explore ourselves. And guys, honest to God, I feel like we need to tell people that we are live on Apple and they should rate us
everywhere. Podcasts
everywhere, Spotify, the
YouTube.
whole gang. Subscribe, please, like it, share it, thumbs up, share it to
Give
your
us
friends.
some comments.
Yeah,
Tell us what you think.
run it up, engage
about the stories that our callers are sharing with us.
Yeah, tell us if you are relating to it. And in all of this, or I guess we're kind of just like looking at these stories, and I think each time we talk about something like this, we get to realize that we are open, honest human beings. And I like sharing that with you. Yeah. And I think that's been great this episode. We can look at I hope our listeners are hearing and seeing things in their lives that they can relate to, and it's love and it's light from Kingston, Jamaica.
Yes.
Good night, my
people. Good night, guys.
Goody Bar, where every conversation is top shelf.
Bye.